Hi there guys, and welcome to my Star Wars The Old Republic Knights of the Fallen Empire coverage. My name is George and today I will be going over some of the things that were shown at the latest developers livestream, which was focused more on the new features that are being added in the latest expansion. The stream started with some more gameplay of Chapter 1 of the new expansion, and it was pretty much the same gameplay you guys may have seen at TwitchCon livestreams last week when they gave some popular streamers a chance to play through a portion of Chapter 1 story. Some extra information was shared with us about the features during this latest gameplay of Chapter 1, so let's quickly go over the few most important points that were mentioned, and then we will go over some new features never seen before. There is a lot to go over, so please bear with me. At a new improved starting menu, if you have the latest expansion, you will be presented with a choice to create one free level 60 character, so you can jump straight into the new story if that is what you want. You will be able to choose your advanced class right away, and going to advanced tab you will be able to change your disciplines if you want. Recommended spec for each class by default will always be DPS, but here you can change that to healer or tank depending on your class and your preference. If you have by any chance capped out your character limit at 22 characters prior to creating a new level 60 character, you will be automatically granted an additional free slot, and that cap can then increase up to 40 to 50 characters, which is quite a lot actually. Prices for additional level 60 character slots have not yet been determined, but there will be an option to buy more if you choose to do so. New level 60 characters will get to start with a legacy gear, which will be of blue quality and 188 grade. This gear can be then transferred to other characters at any point if you like the look of it and you want to use it as your costume, for instance. New stat called Mastery is introduced with this expansion, which serves as a universal main stat, combining all previous main stats into one. So gear will no longer have willpower, strength, aim or cunning stats, and therefore will be able to use any armor on any character regardless of their main stat. Also, endurance stat doesn't count towards mastery and has remained separate, so there will be some options there as well as your other secondary stats like defense or accuracy, for instance. Critical rating and surge rating will also be merged into one stat now, only called critical. In discipline window you will get an additional utility point and one new utility at heroic tier. New level 60 characters will automatically get crew skills that are most useful for the class, and they will be already capped at 500, but you can still change them up later on if you don't like them, if you are willing to reach the cap again, of course. More on changes to crew skills a bit later. For companions you can still customize their appearance. Their stats are now determined by your influence with them and not by gear stats. You will probably want to max out these affections now before the launch if you want your existing companions to be as strong as they can be. Also, your companions can now fill any role, may it be tank, DPS or healer, and can be changed at any time while not in combat by right-clicking on their portrait and choosing what role you will need for them to perform. Okay, now let's move on to some brand new features that are coming with the expansion. It is a pretty extensive list of changes and additions, so please bear with me a little longer. There will be a new combat companion called Pack Dog, which is only used for fighting, so you can't use it to sell trash for you, and they have no storyline to them. This can be found inside new cartel packs and can be bought on GTN from other players. For completing all class stories, you will get a new icon next to your name to show your legendary status. You will have to complete all 8 class stories only. Level for this does not matter, so you can have a character that is only level 50s. You don't have to level it further if you want this status to show. Interface editor has been improved upon quite a bit. Now there is a grid and you can use snap to grid option or even change the size and spacing of the grid itself, which will be pretty useful feature so you can make sure all of your bars and whatnot is aligned properly. Also, a new share Keybinds feature has been added as well, where you can set up keybind profiles and easily share them among all your characters, so you no longer need to set up each character individually. New temporary ability bars have been added as well, so for instance when you are in PvP hotball, that's where your throwball ability will appear, or when you use your heroic moment, all of your unlocked legacy abilities will pop up there. Each of heroic moment ability can be used twice per fight and then it will go away from your bar. Heroic abilities have also been rebalanced to make them even better than before. Various changes have been made to crafting as well. Crafting cap is still at 500 and it will not be increasing in this expansion. There are no more tiers of crafting, now you can craft everything from the beginning, even if you have only 1 point. All of the armor for crafting is now blue, so you no longer craft green grade armor, so now armor you craft should be more usable to you while leveling. All of this armor is now adaptive and you can use it for any class. There have been changes to who will craft what. They haven't disclosed any information about that on stream, but there will be a blog about it where it will all be discussed in detail. Crafting tiers have been changed to grades 1 to 8 from previous 1 to 10. Some crafting materials are gone from the game, and if you have any of those in your inventory or in your cargo hold, it will be changed into a new material that you can use. Any old schematics you have learned prior to this expansion will now be relocated to archive section, so you can still access them and craft them if you need them for appearance, for instance. Gathering skills have also changed, and now even if you are at level 1 you will be able to pick up higher grade materials, although at a reduced quantity. So for instance, if your gathering skill is at level 1 and you pick up a higher grade, you will only get 1 or 2 materials from a node. This works the other way around as well, so if you for instance have gathering at 500 and go pick up a lower level tier material, you will get a bunch more materials from it. These changes will make it overall much easier and faster to obtain needed materials for crafting. Also, when it comes to crafting your end product, you will now have to craft the special parts first from materials you gather and then use those materials in actual crafting of end product, with addition to materials you get from discovery missions, from diplomacy or underworld trading for instance. Crafting missions also changed a bit, and now all missions per grade are available to you straight away, so there is no more RNG involved in terms of what kind of missions will pop up for you each time. There has been a small change in currency as well. Now your basic, elite and ultimate commendations have changed their names to common, glowing and radiant data crystals. As this is just a name change, your current currency won't be reset or any conversion rates made. So if you had 300 basic comms, you will now have 300 common data crystals. Also, there will no longer be a weekly cap limit on currency, so you can grind those as much as you want per week. There will still be a cap, for instance 1000 for common data crystals, but if you spend some of those you can just continue getting them as much as you like or need. This should help speed up the process of getting high-end gear by a lot. Some changes to Legacy have been made as well. There is now a new Datacron tab where all your Datacrons you collected are shown and those yet you need to collect. Datacrons are now Legacy bound and retroactive for all of your characters in your Legacy, new or old, so you will only ever need to pick up Datacrons on one character and all of your characters will get boosts in Mastery. Speeder Piloting 1 can now be unlocked at level 1 and you can use your mount starting at level 1. Also, 2 new Legacy abilities have been added, Summon Random Mount and Summon Random Pet. You will no longer need to have a bunch of pets and mounts on your bars if you like to change a lot between them. Now you can just tag those 2 abilities to your bars instead, and activating them will spawn a random pet or mount depending on how much of them you have in your collection. These new abilities are completely free and available at level 1 of your Legacy. Also, as a side note, Cape clippings have been fixed now for most mounts, so things will now look more realistic in that part as well. Some minor changes have also been made to collections as well. Now every tab is collapsed by default and it's easier to go through each section without the need to scroll too much. Search and filters have also been added, so now it's much easier to find stuff by name if you know what you are looking for. Vendors for all events have now been placed in Cartel Bazaar, for instance for Glee or Ragpool event. Also a new vendor has been added where you can get items from old Chevin event and original Ragpool event that happened once back in vanilla and never came back. These will require a combination of all currencies from other events to buy, so it may take a while to get them if that is something you would like to have. One of the biggest things shown are the leveling changes on core worlds while you are leveling from 1 to 50. Now you will only need to complete your main story missions in order to level your characters, similar as to how 12 times XP boost works right now for subscribers. Only difference from that system is that you will also need to complete only main story missions of each planet. All other missions are now entirely optional and are designated as exploration missions on your map with a new icon. These exploration missions can also be hidden from your map if you don't want to see or do them. They will still provide some XP for completing them, but not nearly as much as main missions do. So 12 times XP boost is going away with launch of the expansion and is replaced with this new system, and it will make leveling much faster and more enjoyable now in my opinion. Group Finder interface has been completely reworked. Story mode operations for Group Finder are now on daily rotation and it will now show which operation is next on the list. All story mode operations and hard mode flashpoints have now increased level range from 50 to 65, so any player in that range can now join them, which should make a bigger pool of players to do content with, which should result in a lower queue times. I assume that level 50 players, for instance, will be boosted to 65 for this, so they can still contribute. All tactical flashpoints are now available from level 10 to 65 and are most likely also boosted, similar like Kuat Drive Yards works now. You will be able to jump into Knights of the Fallen Empire story chapters at any time and anywhere by pressing play on your mission log, which will present you with a window containing a brief information about the chapter. Story for these chapters will work much like class stories, so your friends can still join you and watch you make decisions, but they can't make decisions themselves. They can, however, help you with fighting. When it comes to companion customization, they now have an outfit tab and you can change their appearance like you were able to so far by placing gear in appropriate slot. If gear has stats on them, they won't affect the stats of your companion in any way. Droids and story companions like Darth Mar can't be slotted with gear except for their main weapon, which will have an effect on stats. So sadly you won't be able to take Mar's clothes off to see who is beneath that mask. Companion affection has been renamed into influence and now its level affects how good your companion performs in combat, so it is good to have this at highest level as possible. There are some changes to planetary heroic missions as well. There is now a terminal on Fleet which contains all heroic missions from all planets. These missions will give you credits, experience and different rewards depending on your level. Every mission will have a priority transport when you take them, which will transport you straight into a heroic from Fleet without a need to go to each planet individually and going to heroic area. Also level sync will be put into place, so when you visit a lower level world with your higher level character, his level and stats will temporarily scale down to the appropriate levels, making it easier than ever to help out your friends with leveling low level characters. You will however not lose any abilities or passives you had, so you will still be more powerful than your normal player leveling on said world, so you should have no problem soloing all their heroic missions if that is something you want. You will still get experience from lower level content appropriate for your level, so you can also level up that way. This works for both heroic missions and any other content on lower level planets. This level sync can't be toggled off, and it is therefore not optional. And last but not least, we have some more performance updates coming. For instance, new medium option for anti-aliasing has been added, which gives you the same performance as low option would, but those jagged lines look slightly better. There is also ultra option for those with high-end PCs, which will give you very sharp graphics. So that's it about my recap of the latest Knights of the Fallen Empire livestream. It has been quite extensive one, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to leave a comment below and discuss any features that were mentioned here, and let's get some conversations going. Also remember to like and share this video around, as it took some time on my part to produce it, and it is always nice to see when one's work is appreciated. And also subscribe if you like what I do and my content. There will be more coming down the line about Star Wars as well as some other things. I hope you all have a great weekend, and I will see you guys out there.